my little presentation is called "Don't Let the Rain Go Down the Drain." So that's what we're doing most of the time. So we let the rainwater into the drain, we send it down the drain into the sea, and then we put up desalination plants to get the water back by removing the salt. So hopefully we'll stop all this after we learn about how these things can be done. So little insight into what I'm presenting on. I'm presenting on behalf of the Federation of OMR Resident Associations, which is called FOMRA. So we are a structure of resident welfare associations, mostly high-rise buildings. So all our systems are very, very similar. All our requirements are similar. All our problems are similar. So, so what is OMR? OMR is this place that has been around for more than 10 years, but no civil infrastructure. We have huge cartels of both fresh water and sewage water systems running on tankers because the government infrastructure is not caught up. Why is this a cartel? Because it's a huge bunch of people filling a gap that was created by the government. The government could not satisfy the last mile connectivity between both the sewage treatment plants and the water sources. So we have private enterprise which has walked in, and unfortunately, like everything that is driven by demand and supply, it's become a cartel. So let me get into the basics of rainwater harvesting for high-rise buildings. It is mandatory as per CMDA rules that all buildings should have rainwater harvesting structures. This is, if you don't have this, you will not get your completion certificate. And we know what happens when you go after license, Raj, and certificates, right? So till the inspection is done, everything is in place. And after the inspection is done, everything goes to hell. So that is what happens in most apartment complexes. Most of the time when the builder exits the building, he dumps everything that's available, old cement bags to plastic chairs to wheelbarrows. Everything is dumped inside these rainwater pits, covered up, and then they disappear. And nobody bothers to open and check what's happening with it. We say, okay, as per CMDA rules, we have rainwater harvesting pits. They are working, they are fine. But 90% of the time, we don't check what's inside. So one of the first things that Prabha and I did when we moved into this apartment was we checked what was inside. And this is what came out of it, right? So much of rubbish and debris and all that. So we got that clean. Now, when you want to get into a larger picture of rainwater harvesting, these are the questions that your committee or anybody there will put to you, whoever is in charge of the money, right? Will it work? Is it worth it? Who has done it? Can you afford it now? Can we justify the cost? So these are the kind of questions will come, basically all tending to who will bell the cat, right? Why haven't our neighbors done it? Who has done it? Will it work? All that. So you need to fight very hard for that. We've done that thing, and we've found by experience that everybody who wants to do something good has to fight for it. So we fought for it, but the final push came during the 2015 floods. You see this much of water. There's at least 2.5 feet of water there on all sides of the building, but still there's a tanker delivering water. So water everywhere, not a drop to drink. That's literally what it was. And when it comes to this, that's when you get a wake up call. And Prabha was very instrumental in pushing all the committee members and stuff to get acting on it. And but in Pallikarnai marsh area, which is basically our entire OMR, is a very marshy area, brackish water. Water table is at almost 2 or 3 feet below your thing. So in such areas, do you think about traditional water harvesting methods? My good friend Indukant Ragade is around. Shekhar Raghavan also has spoken on this forum before. So Shekhar's predominant thing is to recharge the ground, right? So that would work in most independent buildings or buildings that are 5-10 flats, that kind of small buildings, though. And if the soil condition is good, that policies and that methods will work. But taking into consideration that we are in a marsh area, we took the out of the box solution and we said, okay, the first thing we need to do is direct collection. we need to collect the water and use it. So we need to be able to use the water as soon as we collect it within 24, 48 hours. And that is what we did. We connected all the terraces through a network of pipes to a couple of syntax tanks, which we used as sedimentation tanks, and then into the underground sumps. Now, the blessing of OMR is that underground sumps are huge because we have to buy tanker water, right? So everybody's got really, really huge underground sumps. So every apartment was blessed with that, and we used that to our benefit. We just put a few valves and made sure that everything was interconnected. Now, what was it? What does it cost? How many pipes? All that. This is just a small thing for a place that is around 50 flats. So if you have 50 flats, this is what you would spend, and this is what the number of valves and stuff like that you will need. Now, this is because somebody asked for a scalability question, right? So if you have 50 flats, this is what it will cost you. It will cost you 2.5 lakhs for about 50 flats. So if you have 500 flats, just multiply. So that's how I worked out the engineering. We put this together. And in 2019 and beyond, this is the calculation we had. So we said if 1 hour of moderate rain happens, you can collect 1 liter of water for every 1 square foot of terrace space. So if you just calculate that, 1875 square meters was the entire terrace, 855 mm of rain in 2019. We should have collected 16 lakh liters, but we collected 19.5 lakh liters. So it is not a perfect science, but it's how we calculate. It's one liter, 1 square foot, 1 hour of moderate rain. So if you calculate on this, you will understand and you can project how many liters you can collect in a day and hour or month. And yeah. So this is how we collected. We kept detailed statistics of how many liters we were collecting, just to understand how this whole project can be justified in terms of money. Remember, every liter of water that we use has to be bought. So it's very easy to equate everything into money. So we did that. And in 90 rainy days, we were able to break even the entire amount of money that was spent on rainwater harvesting. So the next step after that was, what more can we do? So we looked at 3 options. One was a bore well, one was an open well, or simply increasing the RCC sump to double its capacity. We had 1 lakh liters in one sump, so we said, why don't we build another 1 lakh liter sump? So these were the things we looked at, and we finally, because of the obvious advantages, arrived at the open well. And in the open well, the additional benefit was that it would recharge the ground and clear up the groundwater salinity over a period of time. So we dug this well and tried to make it as traditional looking as possible. So it was a photo op kind of place. So we did that, spending around 3.25 lakhs, and integrated it, linked it up with the existing rainwater harvest system by putting in some valves and all that. So what this did was, on a particular day, if it rained heavily and it rained more than 1 lakh liters of water, then our sumps would be full, right? So then it would, by turning a few valves, you could divert that water into the well. So the well was also acting as an additional storage for a short period of time. Once that was done, we were able to pump back from the well into the sump. And it was a nicely built network, so that not a single drop was used, not a single drop was wasted. That's why I said, when we should have harvested 16 lakh liters of water, we actually harvested more than 19 lakh liters of water. This was the way we managed the system. And the thing with open wells is it cleans up the groundwater salinity and all that. And unbelievably, the TDS was very, very low, especially on rainy days. And to the point that it was somewhere in the 60s and 70s, when TDS of the tanker water we were getting is at least 600 to 700. So really beautiful water. I don't know why more people aren't doing it. Now, when we got into that, we said, it's not just this, we need to recycle water also, right? So we got the most buildings built after 2008, especially high rises and gated communities. They are mandated by CMDA again that they should have a STP system on site. So STP systems work in several ways. There are chemical and there are biological systems. We used one which had bacteria in it, so without chemicals, and the result was that beautiful trees and garden and lawns and everything, because the water was absolutely chemical free. So this additionally saved about 7 lakh liters of water a month. The water also went into our flushes. So other than water that came into contact with the body, every other water was recycled water. Now, apart from that, we did the usual things. We put these filters, we gave talks, we spoke about it, we created forums. And the main thing is creating public awareness and trying to avoid the one question that kept coming to us in the beginning, right? Is it worth it? Has anybody done it? And all that. So by going public and talking about it at every chance we got, we were able to convert a number of buildings into making this interconnected, integrated system. So, I mean, this is a picture that very clearly shows what it is. So the tanker water comes here, or the rooftop water, everything goes into a processing plant. You get processed, comes into the kitchen and the shower, and then it goes to the sewage treatment plant. Sludge is removed, and the pure water is treated back and comes into the flush. Again, from the flush, it comes here. Excess water goes into the lawn. And so in this process, we were able to ensure that not a single drop of water that came into the building was wasted. So nothing happens in silos. So in coordination with this, when you start talking about one type of conservation, everybody talks about every other type of conservation. So we got into solid waste management. We segregated our plastics. We removed the metal scraps. We got composting pits put. So we had our own manure. And remember, we were getting beautiful water for our garden. So we had our own manure for the lawn. So resulted in all kinds of things, 5,000, 10,000 drumsticks being harvested every few months. So everybody was having munka sambar and stuff like that. So that was, all these were added benefits to this. Media helped a lot in spreading the message. And what that resulted in is that more and more apartment complexes, especially in our area where the federation was reaching out, we were able to create awareness and convert more buildings. Oh, this is another thing that helped. Receiving the Green Award from the Chief Minister for the building helped us to create conversations with new people. People that we had never met, learned about it, came and met us, saw the examples. There were times when the building was like like a mela on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. There would be at least 3 teams which are walking around trying to see how the pipes were being connected, how the work was done, and things like that. So that was a beautiful thing. The 23 district collectors sent teams to our building to videograph it and show it in their districts to say, this is how it should be done. It is mandatory. The laws are there, but nobody implements it and nobody wants to do anything about it. But here they were able to see something that was actively done, and they were very excited about it. And I don't know how many of those collectors actually implemented it even in their own government buildings. We'll know sometime soon. So we spread the message, and here is one actually notable example that I'd like to talk about. This is an apartment complex called Jane's Pebble Brook. They have about 600 apartments. They used to spend about 10 lakh rupees every month on purchase of water. And after doing all this building, they came and saw the work that we had done. We went and saw their place, and Shekhar Raghavan, and in fact, even Mr. Indukant had come there. We had spoken to them about how it can be achieved. And after doing all that, now their costs of water has come down by 50%. So 50% of the water, and it's sometimes higher even in the rainy months. When they had to buy 3 lakh liters of water in the rainy months, they're only buying probably 10-20% of that. So this is a huge achievement. They also got the CMWSSB Metro Water Award for this. And these are a set of buildings that we have worked with, and the list is growing every day. This is just an initial list. And all these buildings have put together proper rainwater harvesting systems. And 6 million liters of water is harvested every hour of rain. I'm not talking about months and years. Every hour that it rains, 6 million liters of water gets harvested just in these 5, 10, 15 buildings that we have worked with. It's a huge list that is still to be done. Miles to go before we sleep. And if you want to read about the journey, it's available on Facebook. It's called Rain Over Water, REIGN, Rain Over Water. Take a look at it. You'll find more videos, more details, more things. That's about it. Any other questions? I'd be happy to answer.